box of tricks.
Yeah, it's a small unit, but it's got a big impact.
If I'm in an office block and I've got, let's say, 10 handsets, can I ring from handset to handset? So from like room to room or apartment to apartment?
Having 65,000 devices, we can have 5,000 apartments, but it also allows us to integrate even further. When you move into the realms of IP and you're dealing with OnVIF, for example.
And like you said, that can ring devices that you don't have any apps on.
Yes.
And is that dependent on the thickness of the cable, or is it just that's standard on Cat5?
You program it multiple ways. You can program it by physically connecting a USB into this. You can program it by sending a text message to it. You say you can program by the cloud, our cloud management system.
An installer can actually program that to not just be a one-way system with a code. It can actually be, is it 1, 2, and 4?
Door entry is the first thing that you see when you approach a building from outside. You know, people see the door, they recognise whether a door looks nice, but they also recognise whether a door entry system.
Welcome to Room Secured, securing the room. I'm joined here today with Billy Paton from Videx. And what we're going to be wiring up is their Videx New Era system. We're going to be starting off with the actual call station, moving into push to exit, power supply, a bit of a hybrid unit, and then finishing off with their actual monitor with a few added features in there. Now, within Room Secured, securing the room, this is where the manufacturer is actually wiring up, programming, and setting up the products. Billy, can you just give me a couple of features of what this Era products can do?
Yeah, certainly. So the Era kit comes as a 1-button, 2-button, 4-button, or as you can see here, 1-button with code. It's a true 2-wire video system through to handsets, but what we're hoping to show you today is that it does so much more.
Can you just run me through the bits that we've got on the board and the kind of cabling that we're going to do with it?
Yeah, certainly. So here today, this is obviously the Era panel. So it's a 2-wire, as I said, video panel. So essentially what we only need is 2 wires. We're using Cat5 today. Any copper cable will do, Cat5 telephone cable, etc. Then what we've got is a cable coming from here and going into what's going to be an exit button. And then what we've got is the controls. Now in the controls, you've got your 2 wires coming from the door station into the controls, then 2 wires from the controls into a handset. However, what we've also got today is we've got a 2870 module, which is a GSM module that allows us to then do other things with it, which we'll touch on later on.
And the way when you said, you keep saying 2-wire,
yeah,
literally it is only a pair of cables, isn't it? 2-wire. I know you said Cat5, but what we've done for this purpose is we've stripped out the rest of the cables just to show it's just, is that what you call true 2-wire?
Absolutely, it's true it's literally 2 wires throughout the system on the digital bus. So as I said, over here, 2 wires into this unit, into here, and back to the door station. And essentially that's you got a working door entry system to video.
So with it being 2 wires, it's going to save time on installation.
Absolutely.
Is that right? And then what distances can we go from, let's say, the station up to the power supply or up to the monitor in terms of cable?
Yep, so if you're using a traditional Cat5 cable, then you can go 70 metres from here to the controls, and then 70 metres from the controls to the handsets as you go through. So essentially, you can have 140 metres from door station to handset.
And is that dependent on the thickness of the cable, or is it just that's standard on Cat5?
Yeah, so that's for a Cat5. Obviously, if you use thicker copper cables, you will be able to transmit further. What we would say is speak to ourselves first.
Beforehand.
We will then be able to do a calculation. So if you're looking to do a further distance, then we would say speak to us. We'll do some calculations, and we'll be able to advise from there.
The other thing I just want to clarify, because we're using 2 wires, those 2 wires are carrying the audio, the video, and the power. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Right. Can we now start wiring up? And on Room Secured, securing the room, it's the manufacturer who's actually going to do the wiring up and the programming so you can actually see how simple and easy it is. So Billy, let's crack on with it.
Yes.
Okay, so you've wired up the call station.
Yes.
What have you wired up here now?
So this is a exit button, but we call this a self-resetting exit button.
Okay.
So it has two relays within it. So the first relay is a common normally open that wires into the ERA input.
Right.
So it brings a negative to the push to exit input of the unit. So when you press the button, it will then send a signal
To release the
to
lock.
the release of the door for the period of time that the lock is programmed for, 1 second, 5 seconds, etc. However, in the state of an emergency, you can't in a lot of places fit emergency brake glasses because people break them and then you've got to go back and replace them. So for that reason, we have this here. And on the other side of the relay, that would be wired as a common normally closed through to the lock itself, so that when you press and hold the button, the lock stays disengaged for the whole period of time to allow multiple people to exit a building. And then when you let it go, it self resets and then forms back into the system.
So basically, what you're saying is push to exit, standard, open the door, a few seconds. But in the emergency, we press and hold it. Now, is it because it's not powered, it's not got anything connected to it, it's not sticking in? Or
Yeah, it's literally an exit button that forms a self-resetting exit button because it's got an additional relay. So one relay works through the system, the other relay works directly to the lock itself, so that it, like a
cuts
break
the
glass,
power to it.
cuts the power to it. But unlike a break glass, you need to, for a break glass, get someone to go back
And reset
to
it.
reset that. Now, people don't want to wait that length of time. It could be business critical. So for that reason, this allows it to reset immediately as soon as you let go of the button, because it essentially is just a button press.
But does then someone have to stay and hold?
Yes, yeah.
Right. That's what I was. I was mistaken with that. I thought you press hold it stays in the hold position for people to exit. So someone could actually stand there, press and hold it, let everyone escape.
Absolutely.
And then when they let go, it's automatically reset and it goes back to, so the building will still be secure. The door's not going to be open.
Exactly.
Right. That makes more sense. Okay. And that's a simple case. Again, just using the pair on the normally.
Yep, this would be wired in series through your lock. These two wires here, the two blue wires, would essentially be wired so that it's completely independent of the actual exit button input of the door entry system.
Right.
So a lot of fire officers expect, etc., break glasses and everything, alarm inputs and everything require it to be that the lock is completely disengaged, not through a system, but by a physical means. So this physically disengages the lock.
So that's ticking all the boxes
Yeah.
for all the standards, etc. Right. Okay. So now that's all wired up. We'll add the screws onto that in a moment. What are we then putting on after that?
So next we're going to go onto the controls and we'll wire up the controls.
So this is the power. When you say controls, this is basically the power, isn't it?
This is what provides the digital bus to the door entry station and handsets. So it allows the system to operate from entry station through to handset. In other words, transmit the video.
When you said the bus, just for people to understand, we don't necessarily have to go from the call station to the power supply to the monitor, do we? We could go from, let's say, call station to the monitor and then monitor to the power supply, just as long as there's bus connectivity. Is that correct?
Yes, you can. For video, we recommend as well, because you can have multiple monitors.
Yes.
So if you've got multiple monitors, for example, you would go from call station. Essentially, you would go to the controls so that you can split off.
Okay.
Because that also allows you to go further distances, going back to the 70 metres. So you could essentially go 70 metres from here to controls, and then 70 metres from here to one handset, 70 metres to another handset, and so on and so forth.
So, okay, if you just want to wire this up.
Yeah, perfect. The good thing about this is as well, it's not polarity conscious. So it doesn't matter which way around the two wires
So
go.
meaning let's say I've got positive, negative this side with one color. If I come down to the power supply and I've forgotten which way it is, it'll still work and it's not going to damage the system at all.
Not at all.
Okay, bonus. Now with the monitor, again, we're just using the simple 2-wire cable.
Yeah.
And how does that basically mount onto the unit?
So basically what you do is you two terminals into there, and then this unit here is hinged. So with this unit here, what you do is you tip it in from that side and clip it over. So once you've wired in.
Okay,
2
so
wires.
if we can get that wired on and then
Yeah,
get that
absolutely.
clipped on. Okay, now we've got all the system wired up. What kind of program do you need to do on the monitor, or is it pretty much you program this to be a 1-button unit with a code?
Yeah.
And I've got the fob here. So if I was to hold the fob in front of there, we're showing that it's allowing us access into the door. Okay, if you can just press the button.
Yep.
That's going through the bus system, comes through onto the monitor.
Yep.
And then if I was to answer the monitor and I can press door release, and that's showing us now that the door's released.
Absolutely.
Okay. On the, I'll just hang that. That'll hang up itself now, won't it? That's done. On the actual call station, now you've got a feature there where an installer can actually program that to not just be a one-way system with a code. It can actually be, is it 1, 2, and 4?
Yeah, so essentially you can have a 1 button with code like this, or you can essentially just have 1 button, or you can have 2 buttons, or 4 buttons. So yes, essentially 1 button with code, 2 buttons, or 4 buttons.
So it's basically, let's say, for example, someone puts it onto an office block where they've only got one tenant to begin with, but then 6 months down the line, they actually make another office and they've got 2 people. They can then literally just alter it from the same call station. They don't need to go and buy anything else. Is that correct?
That's good. What they would do is they'd be able to just change this to 2 buttons, and then they can wire from this unit out to
The second
an additional
monitor.
monitor.
On the monitor that we've got here, now, please correct me if I'm wrong. How do I get connectivity from the call station to my mobile device?
Okay, so this unit here is called a 6789 monitor. The 6789 monitor has a built-in Wi-Fi module. So you can use this through the programming to attach to the Wi-Fi. So for example, if you had 4 individual apartments, each of the apartments can connect to each person's
With their
individual
own
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So basically,
absolutely.
this unit doesn't connect to any Wi-Fi. It's the person's in their own apartment. That unit is going to connect to their individual Wi-Fis.
The person that wants to call on their mobile, or the apartment that wants to call on their mobile, connects that unit to their Wi-Fi to get a video call.
All right, it's a video call that comes through as well. Okay. So can we program this in now to the Wi-Fi here, and then can we actually demonstrate that?
Yes.
Calling, please wait. The door is opening.
So how easy is it to actually connect the monitor to your phone app? What's the stages you have to do?
So it's really simple to do. Everything today works with a binding code or a QR code, so essentially that's what we use. So what you would do is you would connect this to the customer's Wi-Fi by going into the network settings, putting in, finding the available network, putting in the password, just like you would with your own mobile device or whatever else. Once you've done that, you then go into the general settings of this, and you link the site just by adding its address or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Then when you want to add a phone, all you do is simply go into the menu,
Yeah.
go into general settings, go into the cloud connected part of general settings, and click binding code. When you click binding code, QR code will come up once you've entered in a password. Password defaults is 9876. Change it to 1 obviously for security reasons. Once you've put that in, the binding code will come up. You would use our app, click the plus button on our app, hold it over the screen, and then that will bind that handset to your mobile device. So whenever the handset rings, at the same time it can call your mobile.
So you press the button, that's going to ring through onto the monitor. And then at the same time, it's ringing through onto your phone.
Absolutely.
So when you answer that, it's streaming through the Wi-Fi from here over onto your phone, isn't it? I saw when we were going through the settings on this monitor that it had some extra features on there.
Yeah.
Can you just dive into a little bit what it actually has?
Yeah, absolutely. So in this system here, because what we're essentially doing is taking 2-wire video, and then we now have all the features that you would get in IP. For example, you can have what we call a chrono thermostat. So this unit here has got a built-in thermostat. So if you connect this unit to a boiler, then what you can do is you can actually control the heating of the boiler from
This unit here,
and also
from your phone.
the video
So
app.
let's say you're remote away from home and you want to turn the heating on before you get home, you can do that with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as it's got a built-in thermostat, you can actually allow that to decide when the heating comes on and off. So you can set the temperature to the right temperature. This will then pick that up. It will then switch the boiler on, switch the boiler off, etc. That's just one of the features. One of the main features it has, because it uses OnViv, is now we can do RTSP streaming to third-party cameras.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't understand RTSP, real-time streaming protocol.
Correct.
So we can bring in video surveillance cameras that you might have around the property onto the screen.
Yeah.
And how many can we bring in?
So you can. There isn't a limit as to how many you bring in. So, however, what you can also do is you can have picture-in-picture. So you may be looking at the screen of this door station.
Yeah.
And then you may decide you want to see a camera that has a panoramic view or just a different field of view.
So it could be an example. Someone's come and pressed the door, the call button, but around the side there might be 2 or 3 people waiting around the side. So that allows you to stream in a secondary camera as well as seeing who's at the front there
And
as well.
it just shows up in the top quarter of the screen, and you can choose between cameras.
So you can select. Let's say you got 3, 4. You can select between them.
Absolutely.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that's utilizing IP cameras, but this is basically still only a 2-wire system, isn't it? So we're sort of like amalgamating the two together.
Absolutely.
We've got another box, which is next to here, which is the 2870. What role does this play?
So the 2870 is a GSM module. So we use it in our systems as a hybrid. So formerly we used it on our 2200 system that most people are used to.
Yeah.
However, we've now introduced this onto our 2-wire system, being the 2300. That now means that if someone doesn't have Wi-Fi but still wants to get connectivity to their phone, or they don't want to use an app or anything like that, they can use this module that wires into this. It uses the GSM network. So as well as it sending the video call over to here, it would send an audio call to someone's mobile, and they simply answer it like they would.
So let's say we wanted it to go to a device that doesn't have an app. So for example, a landline phone.
Yeah.
We can have this call a landline phone. We can have it call multiple people's mobiles. How many people does it call? Is it 4 like you do on your standard GSM system?
Yeah,
or
on this system, so this unit here will have 1 primary number per apartment.
Yeah.
And then that can, as you say, be diverted to 3 alternative numbers.
Right.
So essentially 4 telephone numbers per apartment. And that could be, as you say, it could be a landline, it could be a mobile, it could be a mix of both.
Okay. What if I've got 4 apartments? Okay.
Okay.
And 4 apartments have all got their own screens. Do I need to buy 4 of these units, or would I need 1 which can be programmed for each individual apartment?
Yeah, so this unit here will actually do up to 180 apartments. On the Era being 4 buttons, it will do the 4. This lives on our 2200 system and our 2300 system, which is why we allow it to do so many apartments. So essentially it can do 180
apartments
from 1 unit.
And programming, I'm guessing it's done by a portal.
Yeah, so you can program it multiple ways. You can program it by physically connecting a USB into this. You can program it via sending a text message to it. You can program it via, we have some programming text messaging apps. Or yes, as you say, you can program by the cloud, our cloud management system.
And literally just takes 1 SIM card, any network.
Yes.
And away you go.
Yeah, it's predominantly a 4G unit, but it will work back to 3G and 2G.
Ah,
So
okay.
because it's an audio call as well, it then takes away a lot of the restrictions that you would have, you know, for apps, etc., because you're stuck with trying to have a strong signal, etc. Whereas this works on 2, 3, or 4G, and it's an incoming audio call.
Why would I want to add a GSM unit onto the system when I can already have the audio and video coming through onto my app on the phone?
The answer to that's pretty simple. You know, one size doesn't fit all. So lots of people use apps, love apps. They're great. They're wonderful. The downside to them is they can cost money
All right,
because
yeah,
they
because
use data.
the data that's coming through. Okay,
Yeah, so it's fine if you're on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Because if you're on Wi-Fi, that's fine. If you're not on Wi-Fi and you're out and about, which a lot of us are, then an incoming audio call is free. Doesn't cost anything. An incoming video call can cost money. You may have unlimited data plans. Not everyone does have unlimited data plans. However, regardless of what type of phone, what type of landline, what type of plan someone has, even if they've got no money in their phone and no minutes left, they'll still receive an audio incoming call. So it's just to try and bring some more inclusivity into our industry for people. Because as I said, one size doesn't fit all. So you have to cater for all. You know, if somebody wants an app, they can have an app. Somebody wants an audio incoming call, they can have an audio incoming call. Somebody wants a traditional handset, they can have that, or they can have a blend of all three. Entirely up to the individual
and
themselves.
like you said, that can ring devices that you don't have any apps on.
Yeah.
Traditional landlines, it could ring. Let's say you have it on a reception desk. It could ring the reception desk for them to open the door. Whole host of features. Okay, with that. So now on this, so it's cards, fobs. Are there any additional features that we've got with this box?
Yeah, the 2870, you know, it's one of
Like
the
a box of tricks.
Yeah, it's a small unit, but it's got a big impact. Some of the main features it has as global announcements. So global announcements, for anybody that doesn't know, it's a way of notifying people that aren't standing in a particular place, or you want to notify, for example, in a block with 4 apartments,
Yeah.
you want to notify someone in the apartment someone's coming to do some work. So essentially you can use our cloud, or you can do it through a message or through our app messaging, and you can send a message to that resident using this unit, and you just go on the cloud, click on global announcements, type in the message you want to send, click submit. The person that receives the message receives it as a text message.
Okay.
But because they recognise the number, because
Yeah.
they know the number,
Yeah.
they know where it's came from, so they can recognise
So
that.
you could say like window cleaners coming on such and such a day, or bin collection on. Right. Interesting.
And also, it's the reason we use global announcements is because not everyone stands in the one place. Not everyone can get out from their
Not everyone
premises.
sees, notices, etc.
People can be on holiday as well, and they may be coming back on the day that you want to tell them that something's happening, and it's too late. Whereas this way, they're getting the call.
The
You know,
announcement.
not everyone sees a notice board, but everyone can get a message.
Yeah.
Is what I would say.
Okay. What else have we got on there?
We also in there we have ANPR integration, so you can take a third-party ANPR camera, you can wire it through one of our converters into this unit here, and then you can use again text messaging or app messaging cloud to program an ANPR camera, an ANPR registration plate into our system so that it recognises it like it would a fob.
Then that'll open the barrier to let the.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, one other thing that is used a lot is what we call dial to open, or temporary dial to open, DTO for short. So in other words, if someone loses a fob, or someone forgets to take their fob out from, say, for example, housing management or whatever, they can use, again, the programming methods, cloud, text messaging or app messaging, to put their phone number into the system, either temporarily or permanently. And then when they call the number, it recognises them as a user, again, temporarily or permanently, and releases the door and lets them in.
So are these very similar to the features that we've got on your GSM system?
Absolutely.
Pretty much taken that and place it in this box to add it onto, you know, the range of products that you can do. So on the call station itself, the modes of entry, we've got fobs, we've got cards, And we've also got pin code, haven't we?
We have, yeah, but we've also got another feature as well. So we have NFC in this unit here. So we can actually we've got a virtual fob app. So you can add a fob to your wallet in your phone.
Yeah.
And then you can actually use your phone to release the door.
So with that, is it utilizing basically it picks up with the NFC from the back of the phone?
Yeah.
So I can turn that fob, that physical fob, into a virtual fob, utilizing the app. It's called Videx Virtual Fob. So that could mean, let's say, all key holders or fob holders, they can have a virtual and a physical. So if they leave their actual fob in the apartment, everyone always carries a phone with them, don't they? First thing you do is pick your phone up when you're walking out.
Yeah.
They can just still gain entry with the fob itself.
Yeah, they're just adding the fob onto as a virtual fob app.
It's taking basically
it's the same
detail.
fob.
It's just taking the details from that and
it means you don't need to carry that around anymore.
And they're still encrypted. It's still encrypted onto your phone as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, we've got it's called the Era system.
Yes.
True 2-wire with app connectability if you have the Wi-Fi monitor. Anything else you want to add on to that?
Yeah, obviously. So it's true 2-wire traditional handsets. It then goes on to IP, if you like, through the Wi-Fi monitor, but it also can work on a traditional GSM network. So it kind of allows all technologies to be harmonized together in whichever flavor you want it to be.
And with it being 2-wire, one of the key features that I can think of there is, let's say you're going to upgrade an old system, you can utilize the existing cabling. Can you do that as well?
Yeah, you can. If the cabling is fit for purpose of the old system in a traditional door entry system, then yeah, I mean, you only need 2 wires to each handset. You're going to have that. Even if it was an audio system before, you're going to have 2 wires.
Yeah.
So now you can upgrade to video.
And where are these available from?
So these are available from all our leading suppliers, including ADI, Fortis, Norbain, Aprima, and GS Electrical.
And is it available now, stock on the shelves? If someone sees this, they'll be able to go out and purchase it?
Yeah, they all have stock on the shelves now, ready to go.
Okay, so this was all the 2-wire system that we've been talking about. So now we've got some IP products on the desk. What's the difference between the 2-wire and also with the IP?
So the big difference is scalability. When we move into the realms of IP, then we can move into things like having 65,000 devices. We can have 5,000 apartments. Each apartment can have 16 handsets within it. But it also allows us to integrate even further. When you move into the realms of IP and you're dealing with OnVIF, for example, we can then start integrating even deeper with other third-party manufacturers. For example, we talked about earlier on having picture-in-picture, which is fantastic. So we can pull a third-party camera in, but we can now push our camera out to third-party VMSs as well.
So what you're saying is the camera that's on the actual call station, that can get streamed back into an NBR and into a control room, etc. as well.
Yeah.
And was I right in hearing you? You said you can do up to 65,000 devices. Yeah. So basically, scalability is off the charts in effect, because you can't get that with the 2-wire.
No, it lives on a Class B network. So because it lives in a Class B network, that allows 65,000 devices.
We're mentioning this is IP. Now, I think I've heard other people mention with Videx that it's a true IP system.
Yeah.
Can you just, enhance on that? What is a true IP system?
Yeah, so a true IP system means it uses IP technology fundamentally throughout it. So in other words, if I go into an apartment block or a commercial building that is 10 stories high and 150 rooms, I could go anywhere within that building, go into the network of that building and plug my handset in. Okay. And then I'm just programming it through the network. I'm not having to run additional cables between floors and everywhere else. I'm literally connecting that handset to the nearest available port. And because it operates on PoE, power over Ethernet, then I don't need to start fitting power, etc, etc. Literally a Cat5 cable into my handset, Cat5 cable into the nearest available switch with an available port.
So in a lot of the new builds now, the infrastructure that they're cabling in, your IP system can basically utilize that same infrastructure. There's no need for any additional cabling.
No, it can live within that infrastructure itself.
And how does the SIP system work on there?
So this has this basically has a SIP server built in. So in a lot of systems, what you have to do is you have to install a SIP server to then be able to get to utilise the SIP to be able to make a SIP call.
Okay.
However, because ours has a SIP server built in, we can do a thing called direct SIP where we host.
Okay.
So it means you don't need to pay an extreme
Additional.
amount to provide your own SIP server. We can provide that for you within our system.
And were you mentioning about cascading as well? Can I have, how many handsets can I have in one apartment or in one office block, etc.?
Yeah, so each apartment can have up to 16 handsets. And they can be the different variants, the class monitor there, for example, or the traditional 6296. And within that, we offer a thing called Advanced Cascade. Now, Advanced Cascade, which is up to 16 features.
Yeah.
So you can have 16 separate cascades. Each of those cascades are fully programmable. So if you have 16 handsets and the mobile app, for example, your cascade number 1 could ring handset number 1, 3, and 5. Then it could bounce to 6, 7, 9. Then it
Okay.
could ring
So it's
mobile and 6 and 7.
programmable to how
Yeah.
you want it to do.
It's completely flexible. And again, going back to the iPure, that's it's complete flexibility. We term it as integration without limits.
And one last thing is, if I'm in an office block and I've got, let's say, 10 handsets, can I ring from handset to handset? So from like room to room or apartment
Yes.
to apartment
So you can use it as an intercom
as well?
As well, yeah. So you can call from apartment to apartment. But the beauty of it is you may see here on the handset here, the class monitor, it actually has a camera built in. So you can actually have a video call between apartments that have so if you've got a class monitor in one apartment, class monitor in another apartment, when you make that call, it goes through as an audio call between the two apartments. But then you can choose to send the video to the person, so they can actually have a bit like FaceTime, I guess, between apartments.
And if you've got any, let's say, installers or system designers who are looking at this system, do you guys offer the option where you can actually go out and show them the system and also help them with designing? And
Yeah, so we have a local sales team that cover the UK and Ireland, but we also have a national projects team that help with not only the design but also the site visits to determine. For me and for Videx as a company, it's not about, our products are great, they're fantastic, love them, obviously. But to us, it's about what we offer from a support. So when we talk to clients and we talk to end users, for example, for us, it's not about what our systems do, it's about what they want to achieve. We should always be starting with what outcomes they want to achieve and then look to achieve that using the products that we have, the technologies that we have, which is one of the reasons why we have so many variants of technologies. Because again, going back to the one size doesn't fit all, so many variants, what's right for you may not be right for the next person.
And with the IP system here, will we see variants of the Era come into IP as well?
Yeah, so touching on aesthetics, Era to us is an aesthetic, is one of our latest aesthetics. So it's come out, first of all, in the 2300 range, which is the technology.
Yeah.
It will be coming out on our IP technology. It will also be coming out in our GSM technology. So when it comes to aesthetics or how we present our equipment, how our equipment looks on your building, then we do it in 3 forms. Form number 1 will be, yes, the Era, as you see here. Form number 2 would be our 4000 series, which is modular. And then form number 3, which a lot of people are more recognised on, for example, housing, etc., is our vandal-resistant marine-grade stainless steel, which is tailorable in size and shape and even to the RAL colours that you want it to be.
Because that's one key feature, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think Videx are one of the very few manufacturers at the moment who can custom design the aesthetics how the end user or installer would want it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. So, I mean, we've got different systems, different shapes, different sizes, but for us, the bespokeness of our metalwork doesn't just come down to the size of the unit, the width and the height. It comes down to the layout of the buttons, the layout of the readers, the type of readers they want, you know, the way they want it presented to them. For a lot of people, door entry is the first thing that you see when you approach a building.
Yes.
From outside. You know, people see the door, they recognise whether a door looks nice, but they also recognise whether a door entry system looks like it's been an afterthought. So one of the big things we've always had here is we want it to look like it's not been a retrofit. We want to look like this has been put in at the beginning. Even if it's 10 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later, we want it to look like it belongs there rather than just added on.
Added on. Billy, thank you once again for your time.
No problem.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Umar. Thank you.